So Mum was 66 years old when we lost her, and she was a massive part of our family, a huge part of our family. Lived a stone's throw from us, so there wasn't really a day that went by when she wasn't either in our house or we weren't in her house. And the kids were so incredibly close to her. And she just had very vague symptoms, really nothing. She went to A&E one day, took herself off on her own to A&E, didn't tell us, because she just felt unwell, to be sent home with paracetamol, and told there was nothing really wrong with her. Something she would never have done normally, so she would have known. She was trained as a nurse many years ago, so she wasn't silly, and I think she knew something was very wrong, but the hospital decided to send her home. And basically I asked for a second opinion when she dropped some weight. She dropped quite a lot of weight, but she wasn't eating, so I didn't put the two and two together, because obviously cancer symptoms are weight loss. But because she wasn't eating, I didn't even think of that. And so I got a second opinion from somebody, a neighbour actually, who's a consultant surgeon, and he took her in for a scan quickly, and from that scan it was shown that she had pancreatic cancer, and it had spread to her stomach. Massive shock to everybody. And I just remember she was literally only in hospital 3 or 4 nights. In the whole time she was poorly, and she was on her own one morning. She'd had the scan the day before, and 2 junior doctors walked up to her bedside. She was on her own, and they were really young, and they both said to her, "Oh, we've got your scan results here, Sharon, and you have pancreatic cancer that's spread to the stomach. There's nothing we can do. You can go home if you want to." And they turned around and they walked out of the ward. That's what happened. And she rang me. Obviously didn't want to tell me the horrendous news, but had to. Broke down, and then my husband came and picked me up from work, and we just went straight to the hospital, where she was. And basically, to cut a long story short, she was gone from diagnosis to the end. It was 12 weeks. 12 weeks. And we had to deal with all sorts of emotions in such a short space of time with no support. The hospital really couldn't do anything to help her at all. They said that she could try chemo if she wanted to, but it wouldn't have helped her at that stage. So she decided not to go ahead with it because she was weak anyway. And I think she knew that if she'd had it, it probably would have brought the death forward. She wouldn't have lived as long as she did. So she managed it herself at home, and really very well. So there were no nurses involved. I was there every day. I was researching the internet day and night, didn't sleep. All sorts of places around the world. I was looking into everything, but didn't realise really that she'd only got 12 weeks. We weren't told she'd got 12 weeks, and I wish we had been, really. I mean, I think the hospital, when they discharged her, said you could have a year tops, and it was 12 weeks. So I was just like a madwoman, frantic, had nowhere to go, nobody to talk to, no help. One Macmillan nurse assigned to her, who gave me her mobile number, and when I texted her and tried to call her, she wasn't available for us. So I was in a world on my own, really, with it. Yeah, and I look back now, and it's just a blur, and it's just horrendous, really, that there is nothing there for you when you need it most. Just to be taken under someone's wing that knew better and had been through that in some sort of group. Yeah, I probably could have done a lot more to help Mum, because I was not accepting of it. Obviously, I didn't want to lose her. She was 66. She was no age, and I wasn't having it, and I did everything I could to try and find help outside of the hospital, outside of the norm, for her. But but there was just, you know what the internet's like, so many things, so many people saying hundreds and hundreds of different things, try this, do that. We didn't have time, and I didn't know where to go. So mum managed it herself very well. Even on the day she passed, she was up in the morning. I helped her to the loo. She didn't really need much help. And several hours later, she just laid down on the sofa and she was gone. Yeah, that quick. You know, but pancreatic cancer is one of the worst cancers because it hides. It really does until the very late stages, and the symptoms are very vague. You know, had she had a scan maybe a year before, they might have been able to do something. You know, but I doubt it. Looking back, and you really do know who your friends are at a time like that. Yeah, just keeping you going, keeping you positive. The first year after I lost her is still a blur to me. I was very ill. I dropped a lot of weight. I didn't eat. I was just heartbroken and in very deep grief from the shock of it. And I was in hospital twice that year. I think from grief actually. And then, yeah, after the second year, it's still hard and it hits harder in some respects, you must know that. But you kind of learn to live with it day to day. You just go on day to day, day by day, trying to talk to others that have been through similar situations and getting support from, good friends and family. But it's affected the whole family in very different ways, yeah. And obviously, my story with Mum losing her a year after losing her. You know, my son had a terrible accident, nearly lost him from a motorbike accident. So it's been kind of one trauma after another, and then my mum's partner died of cancer a year and a half ago, and I was looking after him because he wasn't very good losing Mum. You know, he didn't look after himself. So he came into the fold and he was here every night for dinner, and we comforted each other very much actually after losing Mum. But we lost him a year and a half ago to cancer. So it's been horrendous. So yeah, when Mum was diagnosed and they couldn't do anything to help her, I felt that the whole medical team kind of turned their back on us. Actually, I did feel that strongly, and I did speak to the Macmillan nurse about that, and even she did to a degree, because they had no answer. They couldn't help us. It became a taboo subject because Mum was terminal, and almost wanted her out the door. They needed the beds. You can go home now. Nothing we can do. So off you go. Didn't even give us names of, cancer nurses or the Ian Rennie, Marie Curie. Didn't mention even that to us at that time. Nothing. Yeah, they were very quiet and almost. Well, there was no support actually with Mum. Nothing at all. I did everything. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.